Well, would you ever believe it? I was supposed to go to Shoreditch tonight, but the bus broke down in Finchley. And he didn't tell anybody, the bus driver, that everybody was just sitting there, those that weren't engrossed in some personal conversation to somebody in India or Afghanistan or whatever, because I seriously, really, I don't think that anybody would need to do a serious casting job for a biblical epic that would need to just go to Brent Central bus station. And you would get more. Sorry, my battery needs to. God, phone. Yeah, you would get more people from Brent Central, Brent Shopping Centre. I think there was myself and this sea of what looked like 100 people from all over the world. And all I could hear was this, when's the fucking bus arriving? And I thought, I'm going there. I'm going to head to that voice. And, I rarely hear Cockney Sparrow voices in London anymore. And I've been wearing this T-shirt for 2 days now. Isn't that disgusting? Yes, because I just like her Madge and I just feel comforted by her. I have changed and showered, by the way. Yeah, so I had to go to Shoreditch today, but the bus broke down and I thought, fuck this for a game of soldiers. I'm just going to go and get a couple of cans of beer, come home and give you my Whitehall, Wembley sort of... how we can take it back, because I find these postcodes irritating. I'm going to say why. Okay, Whitechapel. That's the first one. That's a big one. And what sparked this off? This is about a month old news now. What sparked this off was when Nick Taccone of UKIP said that he was going to have a peaceful protest in Whitechapel. It was over the dead bodies of the Muslims. They were not going to have any of that. And also the Metropolitan Police wet their knickers. You know, there's Metropolitan Police, instead of saying, right now, you're going to stay at home and you're going to let these guys be in a wonderful area of London that has a rich East End history. No, they didn't. The Metropolitan Police instantly fucking came in their pants, but not in a good way, right? And they told our lovely Nick, no, it's got to be in Knightsbridge. Now, why would you hold a peaceful protest near Harrods, for God's sake? It's a shopping district, absolutely up to its tits in luxury brand imagery. There's no point in having a protest march in Knightsbridge. But this is what the police did. They knew what they were doing. They knew that it would have absolutely fuck all impact politically if Nick had his protest in Knightsbridge. But from their perspective, they were allowing it to happen, so it didn't fucking matter. But it does fucking matter. It really, really fucking matters, right? So basically, after that was to add insult to injury, to kick us in the fucking knackers even more, a huge, well, I wouldn't say huge, not on a Tommy Robinson scale huge, but about 300 masked up, vile, bloody things landed on Whitechapel with, claiming the territory, tribal fucking voodoo shit, whatever it is that they do. And so that happened. And what Ant Middleton did, because Ant is quite prolific on his X account, and he looked at this and he said, I'd have them whipped if I was, in charge or what have you. So what happened after this really got my goat. I swear to God, there was a huge deluge of people that had looked Ant up on .gov or what have you, brought up his taxation history and put it up online, postmarked it, tagged it, all the rest of it, all of the screenshots, the snipping tool and all the rest of it. This was all over the net. So this idiot started to irritate me. I pay my taxes in Whitechapel. Said, right, okay, as a freedom of information request, why don't you just tell us all how much tax you've actually paid, sweetheart, right? I've paid, how old are you, right? What's your tax band? How much tax have you paid? Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. He's not going to tell me. I'm going to say, well, were you actually there? Were you there? Because Ant was actually referring to the people that were masked up, being aggressive, and blah, blah, blah. So this started an argument, and I was called naff, an Englishwoman that had sell by date. I mean, when young men want to really have a go, they say to a woman who's menopausal or whatever, nobody wants to shag you anymore, so you're irrelevant and blah, blah, blah. I think, yeah, you should have met me 20 years ago, darling. I'd have fucking, do you know what I mean? Little cunt. Anyway, so the argument progressed and blah, blah, blah. And what really sparked it off for me is the fact that this little twat was living there with his first generation father or what have you in Whitechapel. And in my experience, the guys of that generation just hang around together in fezzes and skirts and all talk to each other and don't really have any particular sense of purpose. And I think, well, yeah, that really built the environment. They sell fabric and mangoes, and that's about it, But what did the English do with Whitechapel? And that's the thing. That's what I'm going to say. And this is what I'm going to call doing a Lenny, because this is the gig. If you say to a tourist, what does Whitechapel mean? What is Whitechapel? Do you think that they would say it's a Muslim enclave? Do you think that anybody from England would say it's a Muslim enclave? No. I'm going to tell you what Whitechapel is famous for. And basically what we need to do is isolate, and I hope Dan Tubbs from Brokenomics gets this, because this is like the reverse Brokenomics. It's when you value something financially and in a monetary sense that you usually only do in a cultural sense. And primarily the job of the British Council is to do this. The British Council will tell you what Shakespeare is worth financially. The British Council will tell you what Harry Potter is worth financially. And I think it's actually kind of impossible to do, but I think we should have a damn good try. Because basically, Whitechapel, pie and mash shops, Cockney knees up, Chas and Dave, Cockney rhyming slang, the Cray twins, gangster history, the Elephant Man, Frederick Treves, circus history, immigration history, the distance between slum housing and proper housing. It was the slum housing in the East End, which was one of the primary inspirations for social housing. Shoreditch is the earliest example of it. So if you take all of these examples and you give them a financial audit, you can slap it in the face of a Muslim MP or a Muslim representative and say, there you go, my darling, we're doing a Lenny. Yeah, we're doing a fucking Lenny Henry. We want the money back. Yeah, we want the money back that all of this is taken. And because in the time that I've lived in London, pie and mash shops have gone. Do we want Cockney knees up? Yes, of course we want Cockney knees up. We want knees up Mother Brown. I mean, come on. Who doesn't love Chas and Dave? Who does not love There's No Pleasing You? I mean, it's just the most wonderful, wonderful song. Is a Muslim Brotherhood capable of writing Ain't No Pleasing You? Yeah? It ain't happening. So these are the sort of arguments that we need to put across in terms of making sure that we absolutely 100% nail something financially and culturally. Let me get on to Wembley. Wembley is delightful, absolutely delightful. It has a dichotomy which is unbelievable. You couldn't actually make it up, the dichotomy of Wembley. We are the most successful at popular culture in the world, the English. And where does it happen more so than anywhere? Fucking Wembley. Concerts, pop concerts. Coldplay, Adele, Led Zeppelin, Bruce Springsteen, all across this bloody landscape, northwest London, whatever. They sell out to the extent that when there is an anticipated event, the Wetherspoons in Wembley puts up the prices by God knows how much percent. The rest of the shops are selling fucking saris. Get those apples. What the hell is that all about? You should have in Wembley wall-to-wall shops that have got something to do with the entertainment industry or the pop industry. But no, this doesn't actually happen. What we've got is bloody mango supply. And the worst thing about it is, I'm sorry, I'm angry and my camera's shaking. The worst thing about it is if you want a curry, so if Piers Morgan's food argument is actually worth something, which it actually isn't, because food we can all make, And if you're just going to have Indians make curries, then that's cultural appropriation. And I can make a decent curry, actually. I can make... Chinese is harder to emulate. Really. It really is. The sesame prawn on toast, I've never been able to manage, and I've tried for about 15 years. So basically, Wembley and its surrounds should be full of football shops. It should be full of music shops. All of the people, all of the, the Adele and what have you, because it is absolutely a phenomenon. We're talking about 90,000 people capacity, right? But it isn't. And even when you go into an Indian cafe or whatever, you are looked at as though you are from another planet. So you can be English and go into Wembley just with your open heart and say, and I did this in Alperton, which is it's between Ealing and Wembley. And I went to this, I was so hungry and the smell was unbelievable. And it had the open sign and there was the usual bloody gaggle of Indian guys. There should be a collective noun for Indian guys that group together and look like they're just talking about the sewing or something. But these guys. And I said, are you open for custom? Because I'm starving and I would really like, and what can you recommend? What's the chef special? Oh yes, you come in, blah, 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 blah. And then fuck me with for a game of soldiers. I sat there, ordered my meal, and they continued to talk to each other. And all the time I was trying to talk to them completely, yes, no, and then continued. The chef came out like, who's this person that's got me to work at the back end of my day when I've done fuck all for the last 3 hours kind of shit. And that was it. And so this is Wembley. Now, what really annoys me about it is the potential, as I have demonstrated quite adequately, is there. But the will isn't, because it is there. To the extent that the Wetherspoons, that's miles away from Wembley, and all of the Premier Inns and all the other places that are miles away from Wembley, absolutely 100% capitalise on the fact that intermittently you've got a crowd of 100,000 people in a captive audience at the stadium. So I'm giving the examples here of where we are financially being ripped apart by making sure that these ethnic minorities have the last say. And I would like to reach out to Dan Tubbs and be there with him when we go through it together and actually do the reverse of what it is that he does, because what he does is a dissimulation. But I would like to do an affirmation of the positive of what could happen if we stopped giving in to this horseshit.